Joe Biden, he set the tone and tenor not just for this year, but perhaps for the next few. Professor Asif.
Uday, the tone is set exactly, and it's going to be like a race to be the global leaders and superpowers, leaving a stronger message as you are talking about, and the guests are also mentioning about that. It's indeed a stronger message to the world. And it's like there are a few questions that we should understand, that whether it's going to make new blocks, as China is claiming that it's an attempt to divide the world into two parts, or it's an attempt to return to the US to the global leadership. Because what is happening now, it's like Washington in a first ever democracy summit where they have invited around 110 governments. It's a strong message, actually. And according to there are two parts here. One perspective comes from the US side, the other one is from the Chinese side, where the US is saying, like, the summit will focus on three main things, like defending against authoritarianism or fighting corruption, promoting respect for human rights, etc. Whether the China saying whether it's democratic or not, because the Biden had an idea, absolute idea, that this is going to anger China, and the reactions coming from China and Russia are on the expected lines, because while inviting other countries, 110 countries, and not including China, and especially in this scenario, and Russia as well, it's a stronger message. But there is another aspect here, Uday, is that they have invited Pakistan and they have not invited China. And the most important part is having Taiwan into that, where Chinese have very stronger reservations on this, because one thing is that China has not been invited, and the other thing is like Taiwan has been invited, which is a formal kind of engagement between the US and Taiwan. And Taiwan will definitely try to take this as a rare kind of opportunity. But is it, again, the question is that where China says this is a kind of attempt to divide the world into two parts, is it exactly going to divide the world? Because China has clearly mentioned that and warned Washington that Taiwan is a kind of red line which must not be crossed. But now, since it's been done, after this invite, what will come next from China? That's a big question. Will China take substantial retaliation or reactions on this? And this kind of anger that is shown to the world, and it's known everywhere because of Taiwan's involvement and engagement with US, the US, especially in this meeting, it's known everywhere that China is now furious on this. And China has actually already started building pressures on the islands on numerous fronts, Uday, whether it's military activity in the Taiwan Strait, or it's on the economic front, etc. And China says those who like playing with the fire, which may result themselves getting burnt, because it's a kind of another threat and challenge from China. And it will be quite interesting to see that what kind of reactions and retaliations that the world is going to see after this, because it's a strong message. And we know that it's a kind of race where superpowers are trying to be the global leaders, and we know kinds of conflicts and problems taking place between these two countries, especially when China is trying to promote its policies for expansion and having its projects, BRI and CPEC there in Pakistan, and supply chain. There are many things, and US is trying to strengthen its power there, mainly focusing on the Indo-Pacific region. So here these things are are quite interesting at this moment, because they said the Beijing will take drastic measures if needed, if the red line is crossed, and if Biden and administration strengthens its relations with Taiwan. So here the question is how US is now going to take this, and how these 110 countries are going to be with the United States of America, and what are the reactions that the world is going to see from China. But the best part here is that India is there, and nowadays, if you see, like in the last few months, there were many summits and many kinds of participations, especially from India on the global platforms. Here again, India is there, and India has its stronger policy, stronger foreign policy, which I always mention in all my talks and debates. Here also we can see that how India is going to take its position, especially in the Indo-Pacific region and in Quad, etc., and how it's going to participate in the meeting and what is going to be the agenda of our own country. So here it's going to be very interesting, Uday, and this is a very strong message. It was in fact expected from the United States, especially after Joe Biden's administration. But the thing is that Turkey is, the other countries from the Middle Eastern region also, they have not been invited. Only 2 countries, I think, are there. So there are a few countries they have not been invited, but the ones invited, especially Taiwan and Pakistan, these 2 points are very interesting because China and Pakistan, they are called like all-weather friends, although they are not. No one is there as permanent friends in the foreign policies and international affairs. But what is here, the policy here, what I fail to understand, or maybe it's a kind of strategic plan here that invite Pakistan and do not invite China. And there could be some kind of, and India is of course there, and having Taiwan is most interesting thing because this is going to invite problems there. And let's see how these things are going to unfold, Uday.
In fact, quickly ask,